you guys all for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk about LinkedIn because I think it's one of the most powerful social networks out there. And while a lot of people are on LinkedIn, very few people are using LinkedIn to get real value from it. I've been active on LinkedIn since about 2007. And since then, it's added tremendous value for my business as well as me personally. And that's what I'm excited to share with you today. What I want to talk about a little bit today is how you might want to think about using LinkedIn from a marketing and sort of strategic standpoint as you look at your organization and whole, as well as maybe how you think about marketing yourself. A lot of the times we think marketing is only something that's done for product and brands, but we're all marketing ourselves as well. And LinkedIn is an extraordinarily powerful tool for this. Here's why. Universal rule of business. We do business with people and things we know, like, and trust. This is true whether it's the kind of laundry detergent that you buy when you're going to check out. I used to work at Procter & Gamble. That's the whole premise of advertising, right? If you've seen a bunch of Tide commercials, you're more likely to pick it when you're at a checkout line or when you're in the laundry aisle. The same is true with humans, though. If I think back when I had started my business 5 or 6 years ago and I needed a business banker, I didn't just Google business banks. I stepped back and said, who do I know that's a business banker? Because all else being equal, we would rather do business with somebody that we know, like, and trust. And one of the things that's interesting is that LinkedIn is a way to do this so that you don't have to necessarily always be building these in person. So what I'm going to share with you today is how you can use LinkedIn to build know, like, and trust, both for yourself and your business. So let's start with know. What does it mean to know someone, right? That's kind of like a weird concept. Well, what it's really all about is awareness. The idea of awareness is one of the core foundations of marketing and advertising, and it works for humans and businesses and everything. All else being equal, we'd rather do business with a person or product or thing that we've heard of than one that we've never heard of. An example, I was reading a book about selling, and there was a chapter about how to make people like you. So I read books on how to make people like me. No. Anyways, there was a section on how to make people like you. And here's what it said. If you meet two people and you like them both the same amount, if you start to see one of those people more often, you actually will like that person more, even if you don't have a positive interaction with them. As long as it's not negative, just seeing someone more makes you like them more. So you now all have permission to go out every night this week. Just kidding. But here's the thing, right? We can't go out every single night. I certainly can't. You probably can't. So how do we build that awareness, whether it's for ourselves or our business? LinkedIn is one of the most powerful ways that you can do that. And there's something in marketing called the rule of 7. The rule of 7 basically says that it takes seeing something or someone about 7 times before it really makes an impact. And so as you build that know, like, and trust, and you start to build those impressions, it takes time, but after about 7 times is when you'll start to see results. I'm going to share a quick example with you. A couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, a college student at UC met with me, and he said, Krista, I really want to get into social media. Our college currently doesn't have any kind of a social media program. How do you think I might go about getting a social media internship? And I said, well, let's think know, like, and trust. People need to know you, like you, and trust you, and they probably would be interested in giving you a job. You know, he's a smart kid. He obviously takes initiative. He was meeting with me. So anyway, so I said, here's what you do. On LinkedIn, there's a social media group. Go on the group, and for 2 months, every single week, go in and post something useful and interesting about social media. What's that doing? That's building that awareness, right? Helping people to know him, like him, and hopefully trust him because he's talking about social media stuff. So every week, he never promoted himself or anything. He just went into the group and shared something useful about social media. What he found, and then what he did, I said, after you do this for 2 months, every single week, go in and say, hey guys, I'm a college student. I love social media. Does anyone have any advice on how I would go about getting a job? You don't need to ask for that job. That makes people feel real uncomfortable. Ask for advice. Everyone loves to give you advice, though. Anyways, that one post, 3 job offers. And it was by using LinkedIn strategically and following this, let people get to know you, build trust, and then over time that opens the door to help you build the sale. And that's kind of the rule of 7 sort of at work. So how does LinkedIn help you do that? I'm not going to go into like granular detail about groups and stuff like that, but even something as simple as updating your status is a big part of it. Every time you update your status on LinkedIn, when the people that you're connected to log in, they're going to see your updates right there in front of them in their newsfeed. That's building that know, like, and trust. That's helping people to see what you do. One of the things that's amazed me about LinkedIn is that when I went to college, it was about 15 years ago, there was no social media, and I actually majored in finance. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I noticed that people I had gone to college with were actually reaching out to me to hire my company for social media. And I was like, that's weird. How do these people even know what I do? Through LinkedIn, and primarily through status updates. We were connected. They see me talking about social media. I'm building this connection in their mind. Krista and social media. So when they need social media support, rather than Googling who does social media wherever they happen to work now, they would rather call someone they know, like, and trust. And so even something as simple as updating status, once you've started building your network, can have a big impact. This is true for companies as well. So on our Bootcamp Digital page, we provide status updates on LinkedIn. And one of the things that blows my mind, I don't know if does anyone here do sort of social media marketing for their business? Okay, well, I will tell you that the number of impressions and interactions and clicks that we get on LinkedIn generally exceeds what we're seeing on Facebook, despite the fact that our Facebook audience is 10 times the size. Now, I'm not saying it's an either or. Both of these are strategic tools that you would use in different ways. But what surprises me is that even my company page on LinkedIn is a really powerful source of visibility for my business if I can take the time to post interesting and relevant status updates. Because again, it's building that know, like, and trust. The other thing that's super cool about being active on LinkedIn is that the more active you are, LinkedIn will go and like tell people about you. Okay, so how awesome is that? Somebody else is gonna market you. So I was at breakfast, I was on vacation last week, I was at breakfast and my aunt says, Krista, LinkedIn tells me you're in the news. I'm like, funny, because I'm sitting on a beach. And actually 2 other people forwarded me stuff as well, saying, hey, LinkedIn is sending us notifications that you're in the news. So by being active on LinkedIn, LinkedIn will do a lot of work for you and let people in your network know what you're up to, which is really naturally building the know, like, and trust. So I wanted to give you a quick bonus, and I wanted an excuse to use the picture of the angry baby because it makes me laugh. But here's the other thing that's really cool about LinkedIn, is it allows you to reach connections of connections. So it can also put you and your business in front of people that you don't already know. And Ben Baker's in this slide. There you go, Ben. So anyways, here's an example. So one of the things that LinkedIn has recently started showing me is who's viewing my updates. And I thought this was really interesting. And what I can see is that I had 10 status updates from whenever I pulled this to July 18th, but it shows me how many people viewed it, how many of those people are in my network, and then this outer circle here is showing me that my status updates are reaching people that I'm not yet connected to, which is really powerful because that's giving me a really cool way to build and grow my brand with new people as well. And now, I wasn't able to find this same chart for my business page updates, but the logic would hold true there as well. So what's really neat about getting active on LinkedIn for a business is that you can build awareness not just with the people you're connected to, but also with people who are connected to them. And that's a really, really, really powerful tool. So that was about know. Let's talk a little bit about like. What makes people like you other than going out every night? Well, a big part of it is just helping people to see you. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If any of you are active on LinkedIn, you probably have seen my face and name a few times. And one of the things that's interesting about a lot of the new features on LinkedIn is that they're giving us information about what other people in our network are doing, right? We're seeing them more often, we're learning more about them. The more we know about people and the more things we find we have in common with someone, the more we naturally like them. And so that's one of the other things that's really neat on LinkedIn, The other thing that's powerful is we can see connections of connections. So if I think about it, if I was choosing my business banker, right, my first step was, oh, I know a guy, and I didn't have his email, but I found him on LinkedIn, and that's who I do my business banking through. But the other option is that I can start to see who knows who. And this can be really, really powerful because, again, all else being equal, we'd rather do business with someone either we know or our friends know than a total stranger. And LinkedIn's a great way to start doing research and figuring this out. The same is true with companies. Business pages on LinkedIn can help you to like people as well. I think the AARP does an amazing job with their social media. I actually worked with them recently in DC, and what's really neat is that when you look at their LinkedIn page, they're really creating a strong and powerful brand for themselves, which does make you feel more interested in them. So the last one is trust. So I know you, I like you, but do I trust you? Do I think you're good at what you do? And this is where I think LinkedIn is unique versus some other social networks, right? Because let's say we're friends on Facebook, but mostly on Facebook, most people talk about personal stuff. That helps me know you and like you, but maybe not necessarily trust you. So trust is the third element. Now, one of the things about trust is you can build trust through letting people know who you're connected to. Let me share an example with you. I got a call from a financial advisor, and one of my friends had given him my information, so he calls me, he's like, oh, Krista, I'm a financial advisor. So my immediate thought is, how fast can I get this man off the phone? Right. So anyways, I'm like, how do I get this guy off the phone, right? I'm busy, I don't want financial advising right now. Anyways, he's like, the call was fine. He lives 2 blocks from my office. He's like, look, I just want 15 minutes of your time, pop in. I actually only live 2 blocks away. So I was like, fine. So my next thought, how fast can I get him out of my office? So anyways, here's the thing. So he popped in, and within the first 5 or 10 minutes, we were chatting about stuff, and I'm still like, okay, you have 4 minutes left. He mentioned not just the person who referred him to me, but 4 other people who I really trust and respect who are clients of his. So what happened? He's my financial advisor. Right, I don't know, he could suck, right? I didn't give him a math test. I don't know that math and financial advice are correlated, but I didn't give him a math test or a financial knowledge test. But the fact that other people I knew trusted him automatically made him more trustworthy to me. And that's something, and I asked him later, I was like, so how'd you know to weave all these people in? And he said, I looked at who you were connected to on LinkedIn. And he's like, we had a gazillion common connections, because I have a lot of LinkedIn connections. He's like, so then I cross-referenced and found people that we were connected to both on Facebook and LinkedIn. And those were the people that I tried to bring up to show that we were connected. Smart, really, really smart. So when it comes to building trust, you want to stay in front of people in a helpful way, and you want to position yourself as a knowledgeable expert. LinkedIn is the first place most people go to assess your credibility. So this is the LinkedIn profile of the guy that I worked with at AARP. Now, I was like, do you care if I use your profile? And he laughed and said, go ahead. But here's the thing, right? So he contacts me, we're going to do business together. This is his LinkedIn profile. Now, where does that start our relationship, right? Where are we going into that relationship? I'm thinking, who the heck is this guy? What does he even do? All these questions, right? If I had searched for him and he had an amazing LinkedIn profile, how would that change our initial reaction? It would start up here. I'd say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work with this guy. He seems like a rock star. I bet he's super connected, right? So just step back and think about, first of all, how is your profile positioning you? Because you want your profile to position you as a complete rock star. And a lot of people feel intimidated by this idea. Maybe you've only had one job. Maybe you feel like you don't have a list of amazing accomplishments. There are college students out there who, are still in school, don't have a huge list of accomplishments, who have better profiles than 95% of the professionals on LinkedIn. It's really more a question of effort and creativity than it is about actually what you've accomplished. Because at the end of the day, if we think about advertising, this is what a billboard of a Big Mac looks like, and this is what they look like when you get there. What you want is to make sure your LinkedIn profile is positioning you like this, right? You want your you want your actual product to look closer to the real deal though, but you want to make sure that you're positioning yourself well. Here's why this matters so much, especially for businesses. When I go into Google and do a search on a business, what do we see? Now, Bootcamp Digital, we're a social media training company. We're all over the internet. So there's like a gazillion things that could show up. What do we see shows up? Our website, our Twitter account, and our LinkedIn profile. For most businesses, and do this for your organization and yourself, for most people and businesses, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up right on the top page. So what you want to think about is making sure it's presenting you in the best possible light, because that's what people are using to assess your credibility. So you really want to think about how it makes you come across, especially as a business. AAA also has a fabulous LinkedIn page. And so if I was searching for AAA, I would see their website, but then I would see their LinkedIn page. And when I come here, what am I going to find? I'm not going to find annoying, crappy advertising stuff that I'm not interested in. I'm going to find helpful and useful information that actually increases my affinity with that brand. And so you can see here, they're posting stuff, remember, look before you lock, because people are leaving kids asleep in the car. You can see, are you road trip ready? So what they're doing is they're building trust by providing useful, helpful information that positions them as experts. And that's really what you want to think about. Another bonus here for your individual profile is look at the LinkedIn publisher platform. You may not have access to it still. Does everyone have access yet to LinkedIn publisher? Anyone know? Yeah? So LinkedIn publisher allows you to publish blog posts. Basically, I'm a huge fan of blogging. I think it's insanely important. Starting a personal blog is a lot of effort for a lot of people. You can do that on LinkedIn. LinkedIn actually lets you now write full-length blog posts right in LinkedIn. What a great way to position yourself as an expert. And you can see I'm doing that there. So I wanted to give you some ideas and inspiration about how you can use LinkedIn. Some of you are probably saying, I don't got time for this. Well, guess what? It doesn't need to take all the time in the world. I think for individuals using LinkedIn strategically, if you can dedicate 15 minutes 2 times a week and be smart about how you spend your time there, which means don't like fall into the rabbit hole of just stalking everyone that's interesting, but have like a list of what you want to achieve when you're there. In 15 minutes, 2 days a week, you can start getting pretty decent results from LinkedIn. Like anything, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. But the same is true for a business. Even if you can just start checking in for 5 minutes a day with your business, adding a status update or something smart, you'll start to see results right away. And one of the things that's neat about LinkedIn is they'll show you the results you're getting. They'll show you how many people are looking at your stuff, clicking at your stuff, etc. So you can start to evaluate whether or not it's a good use of your time. But what I would like to leave you with is that I believe I do all sorts of social media training, and I believe that LinkedIn is one of the most untapped opportunities for businesses as well as professionals, because it gives us the opportunity to really showcase our knowledge and expertise and build trust. And we know people would rather do business with people they know, like, and trust. So it's the opportunity is yours to start building that strategically by making better use of LinkedIn. Thank you so much.